Hi, Nate. Thanks for your question and thank you for watching. So let's go over this for a second. I'm going to talk about more like overall approaches as opposed to specific chord voicings and stuff, but it'll probably be a mix of those two things. So let's see some options. So let's say I was going to play Yardbird Suite by Charlie Parker. Here's one version of what my left hand could do. One, two, three, four. And so on. So that was basically what I would call a bebop stride piano going on. And let me demonstrate what that was like. So, different than a classic stride, where oftentimes the left hand would do an octave up to the chord, or sometimes a tenth up to the chord, and then down to the fifth on the other beats. So, like if it was a C chord, oops, messing up because I'm holding my camera. So that would be like a C chord in a classic stride pattern. But with bebop stride, I'm thinking about it more where I can kind of go faster and my hand can kind of stay in one place. So for Yardbird Suite, for example, it starts with a C chord. So this is one kind of cool thing where you can do the root and then do a sixth. So it's basically just a triad, but I've heard a lot of the classic bebop guys do this, and it's got a nice thick sound to it. And so you can go like C major, then up to F minor, B flat seven, and then you could kind of close it in with a C7. So basically, you're just kind of doing like broken chords in whatever position you can reach. If you can do a big stretch, that makes it sound more full and nice. But then if sometimes you're in a more close position with the chords like that, that also sounds good. And on some level, it's more about keeping the rhythm going. And in between, sometimes you could like do a walking bass line to kind of mix things up. And then kind of come back to the stride pattern like that. So that keeps things going. Another main way to approach your left hand, which this topic is very broad and open to interpretation, but is to essentially just play off of the rhythm of whatever the tune is that you're playing. So this would be like less of a consistent thing going on. And this would take it out of sounding more old fashioned, I would say. Because to me, anytime there's stride happening, it kind of brings it back to kind of a bebop or pre-bebop sound, which is not a bad thing at all. But kind of, if you're conceiving of a more modern sound, it's hard to get that while playing stride. So to leave it more open and interpret it based on the tune that you're playing, let's see if I can do something like that with Yardbird Suite. So it'd be like, one, two, three, four. And then once you've gotten past the melody and it's time to take a solo, you might break things down in the left hand a little bit and just accompany yourself using one or two notes and kind of, let it really develop organically based on whatever kind of solo you're taking. So let's see if I can do an example of that. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on. And then, if you take another chorus, then things could kind of pick up from there. You get back into some kind of stride rhythm, or at least, maybe use some thicker chords in the left hand. But solo piano playing in general, to me at least, is a lot more kind of complex than when you're playing with a group, because you have to, carry the momentum of the whole thing by yourself and keep the rhythm and all that stuff. And about keeping the rhythm, I almost think, if there's like one thing that you're going to really focus on while you're playing, it's staying in the rhythm. And as you're conceiving of it, as you're going along, focus more on actually hitting rhythms together with your hands and, staying in the pocket, that kind of thing, doing things that break it up in a nice way, more so than focusing on what are these crazy lines that I'm going to play. Because a lot of times, if you're up on your scales and your chords and you're going through the song the right way, the lines can kind of just happen on their own. And as we all know, less is more. So if you're going too crazy with your right hand and, the overall arrangement isn't really coming together, maybe it's because you're doing too much with your right hand and, things need to just come together a little bit more. So kind of let it build. Whatever left hand style you're going with, that can also help your right hand, be going through in a nice way. So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and thank you again for your question. And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.